everything I crocheted in 2024. This isn't even the half of it. If you saw everything I had laid out on my bed right now, you might be shocked. So grab a snack, grab a crochet project, and strap yourself in because this is going to take a while to get through. Hey guys, it's Olivia. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. So I've been crocheting since 2010, but in May of 2024 is when I started my crochet Etsy shop. And so from January to mid-May, I hadn't crocheted anything, but from mid-May until December, I was crocheting galore for my business. And so everything I'm going to show you in this video has been crocheted between mid-May and December, meaning 7.5 months of 2024. And there's a lot of it. So before we get into it, I just want to say that I am going to be including some whips. So the projects aren't finished, but they're close enough to being finished. Like maybe I needed like one more row or something like that. They're close enough to being finished that I'm going to include them in this video. And also some things I don't physically have with me because I either sold them or I gave them away as gifts, but I should have pictures of most of those, if not all. So I will try to include pictures or videos of things that aren't currently in front of me, but were made in 2024. And one final thing, as I said, I have an Etsy shop, and 90% of the things you're gonna see in this video are for sale on my Etsy. And stick around till the end of this video because I'm gonna share with you guys how and when to get all of this at a discounted price. So if you see something you like, there's a sale coming soon. Okay, so with all that being said, let's hop into it. So the first section of this video is going to be wearables. And so the first wearables we are going to talk about are these ear warmers. So I made this yellow one first and it was way too big. So then I made this brown one and I made it quite a bit smaller and it actually fits. So as you can see, the yellow one is quite a bit wider. And so if anyone were to order an ear warmer from me, this is the size that I would make. And these are available in various colors. And so in 2024, I made 2 ear warmers. Next, we're gonna move on to bandanas. So I made these picot bandanas and I made 20 of them. Let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. You could say that I got a little bit carried away. I made 20 of these and they've been on my Etsy shop for a while, and unfortunately none of them have sold yet. I have gotten a few favorites on them, but I have not sold any, and yeah, there's too many. I need to get rid of them. So yes, I made 20 of these picot bandanas, and then I was trying to come up with a different type of bandana that I wanted to sell, and so I was like trying to come up with my own design. And I came up with this. It is sunburst granny squares, but they are sunflowers, and then they're sewn together, and here's the strap. And I do like this. This isn't currently for sale on my Etsy shop. The only issue is that I used very thick yarn for this. I think I used a size 6 yarn, and so it's kind of stiff and heavy. Meanwhile, these are like very malleable. And so basically I want to redo this design with a thinner yarn. But yeah, so this is like my design of bandana, and it didn't quite come out the way that I wanted it to, but it is complete. So this is something else that I crocheted in 2024. So I made 20 picot bandanas and 1 sunflower bandana for a total of 21 bandanas. Next, we're moving on to scrunchies. So when I first opened my Etsy shop, I was using chenille yarn to make scrunchies. And so I talked about this in my first video ever on this channel, but I was trying to start my business with as low upfront cost as possible. And so I bought 3 colors of yarn, which were blue, purple, and pink, and then I tried to make as many things as possible. So like, for example, you can see this blue and pink turtle. We're gonna get to that later, but it's like I was making plushies and scrunchies and anything that I could with only 3 balls of yarn. That way I could open my shop with several products instead of just like 1 or 2. Anywho, I originally started with chenille scrunchies and I made 19 of them. Take my word for it, there's 19. And they weren't really selling, and also I don't dislike these. I think they're cute, but I wanted them to be more full. But then I was thinking that if I added, let's say, another round with the thickness and kind of the weight of this yarn, it might be heavy for a scrunchie. So then I turned to making velvet scrunchies. So this is burnout velvet and it's a thinner yarn. So this is a size 6 and this is a size 5. So then I was like, I can make it bigger and more full, but not have it be extremely heavy. So as you can see, a quick comparison between the two. These ones are definitely more ruffly and fluffier than these ones. So I have taken off the chenille scrunchies and replaced them with my velvet scrunchies. And here are some other velvet scrunchies that I've made in white, black, misty gray, and indigo. So I have 5 with me right now, but in total in 2024, I made 16. 7 of them I sold on my Etsy, 4 to one customer and 3 to another. And then I gave 4 as a gift to my brother's girlfriend. And then I have these 5. So 7 plus 4 plus 5 equals 16. So in total, I made 19 chenille scrunchies, 16 velvet scrunchies for a total of 35 scrunchies. Now we're gonna move on to the part of this video that's probably gonna take the longest because I didn't even realize that I made this many of this item, but apparently I did. So the next wearables that we're gonna talk about are hats. And so all of my hats are similar but different. And we're gonna break down the different categories of hats that I have. So first we're gonna start with regular ruffle hats. That's what I'm gonna call this category. And so the first subcategory of regular ruffle hats is solid. Just a solid tan, brown, blue, yellow, white. And then I have my first whip of the video. This one is red and it's pretty much done. It's just missing the 2 rows of ruffles. And then I have a black one that I also gave to my brother's girlfriend. So that is a total of 6.5 of the solid ruffle hats. Then we have plaid ruffle hats. So I have a brown one, pink, 2 purple, blue, and red. So I don't know if you caught it at first glance, but this red is slightly different than the rest. So this is the first one that I ever made. And essentially I was switching colors every row, but then it was more looking like little lines instead of little boxes. So then when I made my next, however many I have here, I was changing colors every 2 rows to give it more of a square. And so this one, as you can see, is still connected to some yarn. I was on the last row and then I ran out of one of the colors, so I couldn't finish it. But yes, this was my prototype and it came out nice, but I prefer the boxes over the lines. And also all my ruffle hats come in 3 sizes, small, medium, large. So as you can see with these purples, this is a size small, this is a size large, and then this blue one is a medium. So do you see the size differences? Yeah. So for the purple one, this was like my main model for my product photos. So I made this one in all 3 sizes, but I no longer have the medium because one of the mediums I gave to one of my best friends for her birthday. And then I made another medium purple one. and then I gave that one to my sister-in-law as a gift. So I don't have any medium purples anymore, but in total I have 7 of the plaid ruffle hats here with me, and then I gave 2 away as gifts, meaning I made 9 plaid ruffle hats. Hi, editing Olivia here real quick. I made a mistake when talking about the ruffle hats. It's really not that big of a deal because it doesn't change the overall number of hats, but I said that I had 7 with me and then I gave 2 away as gifts. No, I have 6 with me. I gave 2 away as gifts and I sold one. And I don't know how I made that mistake because the plaid ruffle hat is literally the first thing I ever sold. So I don't know how I messed that up. My literal first sale ever was a plaid ruffle hat. So the total number of plaid ruffle hats is still 9, but like I needed to mention the fact that I sold one because it was my first sale ever. So yeah, back to the video. Now we move on to striped ruffle hats. So as you can see, they're horizontal stripes and they have ruffles. So this one is soft taupe and walnut, and this one is white and sky blue. And then I have these 2, which are the inverse of each other. So they're basically the exact same hat, except this one has a white ruffle and this one has a black ruffle. So it's like one is black and white and the other one is white and black, technically. And so I have these 4, but you see how I have these like inverse ones? I also have inverse ones of these 2, but I just can't find them. But I know that I made them. So yeah, I do have this exact hat with a white ruffle and then this exact hat with a tan ruffle. I know that I have them. I know that they exist. I just can't find them right now. So I have 4 with me and then I have 2 that are MIA. So that's a total of 6 striped ruffle hats. And so on my Etsy, you get to choose the 2 stripe colors and the brim. So if you want a black and white hat with a black brim versus a black and white hat with a white brim, there's a way to specify which version of a black and white hat that you want. My next ruffle hat is a vertical stripe ruffle hat. So we went from horizontal to vertical. And so I've only made this one. So as of right now, this is the only one on my shop, but I am planning to make other colors in the future. But yeah, 1 vertical stripe ruffle hat. Next, these might look similar to the striped hats, but they are slightly different. These are my spiral ruffle hats. So you might be like, these look exactly the same. This is striped, this is spiral. The difference is, on the striped hat, you can see that the middle just starts with one color, then the next, then the next. With the spiral hat, the top of it is a spiral, and then it spirals out. So basically, when you get to the brim, it changes from brown to tan to brown to tan because it is a spiraled hat. So the brims are slightly different and the top is different. But if you just look at it straight on, it looks like the same hat, but it's not. And then also for the spiral hats, you can get them in either 2 colors. So the spiral has the same colors opposite each other, and then it just spirals out. Or you can select 4 colors and then they spiral out. So there's a 2-color option and a 4-color option for the spiral hats. And so this is the first one that I made. It was a scrap yarn hat and I thought it looked cool, so then I made this one. Next we have half and half ruffle hats. So this one is half tan, half brown. So basically light brown and dark brown. And then this is light pink and dark pink. And so these are the only 2 that are currently available on my shop, but I intend to offer half and half green, half and half blue, etc., etc. But these are the only 2 that I currently have. And last but not least, for regular ruffle hats is this sunflower ruffle hat. So it's basically a sunflower granny hexagon, and then sunflower granny squares attached to it. And then I did a couple of rows of double crochet and then the ruffle at the bottom. And so this one was supposed to be a gift for my sister-in-law, but as you can tell, it's very wide. And so basically it was too big. So I didn't end up giving this one to her. I ended up making 2 more in purple instead of white, and I gave those to her. So in total, I've made 3 sunflower ruffle hats, but I only currently have this one. Now we move on to cat ear ruffle hats. So we start with the solid color. So we have black, brown, tan, and then I have 2 white ones. And I also have this burgundy one. So I don't know if you can tell, but this burgundy one is crazy wide. So this is the very first one that I ever made. And as you can see, I made the rest of them a lot smaller. So this was my prototype. And what I did for this one is I realized it was too big. So then I started to do some decreases. So the hat kind of goes like this, like the top is wider and then the base is smaller. So then what I did when I made the rest of them is I just did how many I ended up with at the bottom for the rest of them. That's just how many stitches I decided to start with at the top. So yeah, this is my first one. It does fit because I did the decreases, but it's not necessary to do the decreases. So then it's like overall I can do less stitches if I just make the top the same width as the bottom. So that is what I did. So I have 6 of these. This one, not for sale because it's gigantic, but you can order a burgundy hat and then I would just make it this size. Next, we have striped cat ear beanies. Are you seeing the trend? So basically any type of hat that I have in a regular ruffle, I also made a cat ear ruffle version. So you could get striped ruffle hat or striped cat ear beanie, and it's basically just whatever look you want. If you want the circular hat, I got you. If you want the pointy cat ears, I got you. So basically these are the same hat except one has ears and one doesn't. So whichever your style is, you can customize the colors that you want and also decide if you want the cat ear version or the regular version. So back to these striped cat ear beanies, I have this tan and brown, black and tan, black and brown, and this one the ruffle is not finished, but it's almost there, so it counts. And then I have black and blue and blue and black. So basically this one is not done, but this is going to be the inverse of this. So this one is black and white stripes with a blue ruffle, and this one is going to be black and white stripes with a black ruffle. So they're going to be the same but different, just like how these are the same but different. Next on the cat ear beanies, I have this plaid cat ear beanie. I currently only have it in brown, but it will be available in the other plaid colors like pink. So it'll look just like this, but it will be a cat ear beanie, right? So right now I only have the brown one made. So I only have one of these, but once again, you can order it in other colors. And last but certainly not least for cat ear beanies is this leopard print cat ear beanie. So this is something that I was making for someone and then they said they wanted a different hat instead. So then I ended up making that one and giving it to them. But I had already started on this one, so then I just decided to finish it. And it's not completely finished because, as you can see, it's connected to some yarn. So I didn't get to finish the ruffle because I ran out of the black yarn and I only have the tan left. But basically, this doesn't fit. Or rephrase, it wouldn't fit an adult head. This does not fit me. So the reason for that is my regular cat beanies are stretchy, right? And that's because they're made with double crochets, which is a relatively loose stitch. This one, since it's basically like tapestry crochet, but I decided to turn the tapestry into a hat, I did single crochets so that you could see the spots. And also, this is the back. So the back and the front are different. And so basically I did single crochets, which doesn't stretch. So when you hold them up, they're the same size. Like they're the same amount of stitches, they're the same size, but the difference is this stretches and this doesn't. So this stretches and therefore fits over your head. And since this has literally no stretch to it, it will not fit on your head unless you're a child. So I don't currently have this on my Etsy. I'm debating whether or not I want to put it on and just put it as a child's hat, because this will not fit an adult, I don't think. And I don't want to sell it and then the person is disappointed that it doesn't fit. You know what I mean? So my plan is to recreate this, but either with double crochets or half double crochets so that it's stretchier. But I don't want to do too tall of a stitch because then the design might not come through as well. I'm still deciding. This is basically a prototype. So anyways, it's a very good thing that the person I was making this for said that they didn't want it, because when they told me they no longer wanted it and they wanted a different hat, it was like this much done. And so I put this down, made the other hat, and then I was like, let me just finish this just for funsies. And then I did finish it, and then it doesn't fit. So if I had made this and then given it to her, she wouldn't have been able to wear it because it wouldn't fit. So blessing in disguise that this was canceled and that I was just making it for fun, because I wouldn't have wanted to give this to someone and then it didn't fit. So yeah, this was a time-consuming project because with tapestry crochet, you can't just like mindlessly go. You have to like color change at the right spot and all this stuff. And so it's a lot of counting and a lot of like staring at the grid. So I used Stitch Fiddle to make the grid. And so it's a lot of like counting, like, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, I have to do 5 black ones, and then 1, 2, 3. Okay, then 3 tan. And it's like, it's a lot of counting and it took a long time. And then it's not wearable. But I'm glad that I made it because I'm pretty sure I know how to fix it so that it's wearable for the future. But anywho, that was a very long way of saying I made one leopard print cat ear beanie. And finally, the last section of hats are cable hats. So I have these, and as you can see, the cable pattern on it. And so I made one in blue, brown, tan, and white. I also have a black one, but I can't find it. Like, I know it exists. I know that I made it, but when I was trying to curate all of my things for this video, I literally could not find it, but I know that it exists. And then I also made this one that has a white brim and like the body of the hat is red. And my plan was to put a white puff on top, and it was basically gonna be like a Santa style hat. So I was basically going to make this for like Christmas stock. But then I, for one, never ended up buying the white pom-pom. And it's just like, by the time I had the idea, it was already December, and I'm like, by the time I put it on my shop and by the time people find it and then order it, it might not even get to them by Christmas. So I just didn't bother buying the pom-pom, and I didn't bother putting it up on my Etsy. And so basically this is probably just gonna sit around until Christmas 2025, because I don't think anyone is gonna buy a Santa winter hat in January. Like, I could be wrong, but I don't think so. So this one isn't currently on my Etsy, and I don't think I'll put it up until probably November of this year. and by then I will have added the white pom-pom, and it will be like a Santa winter hat. And then finally I have this yellow one, which is half made, or more than half. Let's say 65% done. And so once again, this is one of my whips, but I wanted to include it. So let's go through all these hats real quick, like just the numbers. And I have the numbers written on my iPad, so that's why I'm looking down. I made 6.5 solid ruffle hats, 9 plaid ruffle hats, 6 striped ruffle hats, 1 vertical stripes ruffle hat, 2 spiral ruffle hats, 2 half and half ruffle hats, 3 sunflower ruffle hats, 6 solid cat ear ruffle hats, 6 striped cat ear ruffle hats, 1 plaid cat ear ruffle hat, 1 leopard print cat ear ruffle hat, and 6.5 cable hats. So I feel like I said the word ruffle hat a billion times. That is a total of 50 hats. I made 50 hats in 2024, and I sold 1. I sold 1, and I gave away 5 as presents. So yeah, when I tell you my bedroom is overflowing with hats, like it is crazy. I didn't realize I made that many, because what I like to do for my Etsy is I like to show different color options. So like for bandanas, it's like I want to show you the blue, and I want to show you the pink, and I want to show you the brown stripes, and I basically want people to have lots of options. And so I try to make my products in several color variations so that people can kind of see what they're gonna buy, instead of saying they want purple, but then what shade of purple? But I wanna show you that it's this shade of purple. And so basically I've been making several of each product so that there's more pictures on my Etsy, but then I end up just being overflowed with things. So yeah, I made 50 hats in 2024, and I did not realize it until I was collecting them all for this video. So that is everything for the wearables: bandanas, scrunchies, hats. And I have several variations of the hats, clearly. And for the scrunchies, they're available in 24 different colors. And for the bandanas, they're available in like 60 plus colors or something crazy like that. And the hats are also available in 60 plus colors. So if you didn't see a color you like, there's lots of colors available on my Etsy. So that is everything for wearables. Now let's move on to keychains. I have several different types of keychains, and I want to share them. So first, let's start with the flower keychains. So I have this daisy keychain, and I actually made 2 in 2024, this one, and then I also sold one, so I no longer have that one with me. Then I have this sunflower, and I actually made 4 sunflower keychains in 2024. So I have this one, and then I also have this one, which is my prototype. So whenever I'm trying to design something, so like these keychains are like my pattern, I suppose. Whenever I'm trying to design something, if I don't have the proper colors for it, I just use whatever yarn I currently have, instead of buying the yarn and then trying to make it and then it doesn't look good, and then I just spent money on yarn when I didn't need to. So at the time I had this burgundy and this yellow, and so I tried it out and I liked the way it turned out, and then I went and bought the brown so that I could make it the proper colors. And then I also made this sunflower, but this one is 2D. So with the ones that I sell on my Etsy, the middle of it is stuffed, and then the petals are not. And then I made a 2D version just to see if I liked it. And I do like this. This is actually like my keychain. Like I have this on my keys. Like I walk around with this keychain, but I don't sell the flat ones, like at least not right now. I don't have the flat ones on my Etsy shop, but I do have the 3D ones on my Etsy shop. And then I also have one more sunflower keychain, like a 3D version that I made for my sister-in-law. And then one last flower. So we had the daisy, then the sunflowers, and this one is another prototype. it's a poppy. So this one is not currently on my Etsy because I don't know if I like it. Like, I think I might want to rework it. And also, I've never made it in the proper poppy colors. So at the time when I had the idea, I had black, but I didn't have red, so I just used pink. And so I've never made it in black and red, so I don't have any photos of it. Therefore, I can't sell it on my Etsy if I don't have product photos. So yeah, this one is not currently available because I don't know if I want to fix it or not. But yeah, so I also made this pink poppy. Next, I'm going to move on to my most popular keychain, aka the one that has sold the most, which is this orca whale. So I've made 4 of these in 2024. So I made this one for myself, and like this is the one that's in all my product photos. And then I made 3 for 3 different Etsy orders. I literally got an order for 3 of these in a row. So these seem to be very popular on my shop. And so yeah, I made 4 of these cute orca whales keychain versions, because I also have a plushie version right here. Nope. Right here, which we will talk about later in the video when we get to the plushie section. But yeah, the keychain version has been quite popular on my shop. Then around Halloween, I made this ghost keychain. So I do have a bigger plushie version, but this is the small keychain version. And so I made them for like Halloween time, and unfortunately, it never got purchased, but I do have this cute ghost. And finally, these keychains are not currently for sale, and I don't think they ever will be because I don't like making this in small form. Like, I've made bigger versions of this, like plushie versions, and the keychain versions, I don't like making them. So I made these 4 octopi. So these are 4 separate keychains. So I made a burgundy, a gray, white, and yellow. And making the tentacles with the acrylic yarn is so hard and so tedious, and it's not fun. And so when I'm making the bigger versions with the plush yarn, it's fine. And they're real quick, like very easy to make, and I enjoy making them. I don't enjoy making these. So I have 4 of them, and I very much considered taking product photos of them. And I don't think I will be doing that because I don't like making the teeny tiny itty bitty tentacles. Like, it's like I gotta hold it this close to my face just to see what I'm doing. And so yeah. So as you can tell by these keychains, I basically like to make a smaller plushie version and then just add a keychain to it. So like I do have an orca whale plushie, and then I made a tiny version for a keychain. I have a ghost plushie, tiny version keychain. I have octopi plushie, small octopi keychains, right? So I'm considering making tiny versions of all of my bigger plushies using acrylic yarn to then make them smaller and make them keychain sized. So that's something that I have in the works. But in total, I made 16 keychains in 2024. Now we move on to pillows. So I do sell decorative pillows on my Etsy shop. And first, we're going to start with a prototype that I made. So I made this sunflower, and I used burgundy and yellow, like when I made the prototype for the keychain. So essentially, I just did more rows, which makes it overall bigger, and then you end up having more petals. And so I basically just wanted to see what it would be like bigger, or like what it would look like with more petals, I suppose. And so basically, whenever I'm making a prototype, I don't know if prototype is the right word, but it's the word that I'm going to use. Whenever I'm making a prototype, I always do it in acrylic yarn because acrylic yarn is cheaper. And so if I like mess up and like, for example, I'm not going to do anything with this, like I'm not going to sell this, I just have it. It wasn't expensive to test out my idea. So anyways, this is the first pillow, which is very tiny, I know, but this is the final product. So prototype, final product. So these are the exact same amount of rows and they have the exact same amount of petals. The only difference is I used a size 4 yarn for this and I used a size 7 yarn for this. So this is made with a size 4 yarn and a 5mm hook. And this is made with a size 7 yarn and an 11mm hook. So you want something to be bigger, use bigger yarn and a bigger hook. You can use the exact same pattern and get a very different result depending on the size of your yarn. So this is the true pillow version, quite big. And yes, so version 1, version 2. Then I made what I call name pillows. So I started off with my own name and it says Olivia. So this was my prototype, I guess. And this one I didn't bother to make a smaller version of first because it's technically tapestry crochet, but it's very simple. It's 6 letters. So I just decided to go straight in with the chenille yarn. And yeah, I used peach because that's the color that I had. And I didn't want to go out and buy colors. And then I used white for the lettering and I made my name. And then I made another one with the name Alexander on it. I don't know anybody named Alexander. I just picked the name because with the pattern that I made, the face of the pillow can fit up to 10 letters. So my name only has 6 letters and I wanted to show what it would look like with 10 letters. And also I already had a girl name, so then I wanted to make a boy name to show that you could buy it for like, I don't know, let's say someone's setting up a nursery and they know what their kid's name is going to be. Then like I show like, oh, a baby girl's name, a baby boy's name, whatever. So yeah, I made 2 of these. And this is my pattern and I think I'm gonna rework it. So these are currently for sale. But I think, like in my mind, I think I know a better way to make this. But I've made these 2 name pillows in 2024. And then the next pillows that I've made are these heart pillows. So my heart pillows come in 3 sizes. This is large, which is a 12-inch heart. So it's 12 inches across and 12 inches diagonally. And then this is a medium. As you can see, it's slightly smaller and it's 10 by 10. And then this is small, which is plushy sized, and it's 7 by 7. And so they come in the 3 sizes and there's multiple color options. And then I also have a 4th one that I made. It was a size medium and it was in the color lavender. And that one was for an order. So I sold a medium lavender heart pillow in 2024. And then this is another pillow that I don't currently have on my Etsy and I'm trying to figure out if I want to put it on my Etsy. It is this half and half. And so my concept for this was like 2 hearts become 1. So it's like, let's say you and your partner, like one of your guys' favorite color is blue and the other one, your favorite color is purple, then it would be like half blue, half purple, right? And then it would show like you guys coming together. Like that was my thought process. And so since I had the leftover yarn for making these 2, then I just decided to use the same yarns to make the half and half. And maybe it's just the way I went about it, but like, once again, I think it's a good concept. This is basically my prototype. So I think it's a good concept, but I think I could rework it. But yeah, this is my half and half heart, not currently available, but maybe it will be at some point. And so in total, I made 9 pillows in 2024. Next, we're gonna move on to plushies. And so you're probably gonna see my background change quite a bit as I pick them up to show them to you. This is not all of them. These are just the ones that I could fit in frame. So first, let's start with the duck. So I made 2 ducks. This one is the one that's in my product photos, and then I made one for an order. So I sold 1 duck in 2024. Next, in the same cubby, next we have this whale. So this is the bigger version of the keychain. So here you can see the size difference between the two. So I made 2 whales, this one that's in my product photos, and then I also sold one, so I don't currently have that one. Next is this stingray. So I made this one in chenille yarn, and then I also made a smaller one in velvet yarn that I gave to my 4-month-old nephew for Christmas. So that one I don't currently have, but I have footage of it, so I'll be putting it up. So 2 stingrays, 1 ghost, and as you can see the size difference between the keychain and the plushie. Then I made 5 turtles. This is the first turtle I ever made. So like the fins aren't great, the head isn't great, but this one is pink with a purple shell. And then I got better. So as you can see, this one is purple with a blue shell, and everything is attached quite well. Blue with a pink shell, yellow with a black shell, and black with a blue shell. And so yeah, those are my 5 turtles. Then I made these octopi. So I have black, pink, yellow, purple, and blue. And then I have 2 white ones. These ones don't have faces. I hadn't sewn the eyes on. And then 2 more pink ones and another blue one. Plus, I also made a peach one that my brother bought for me to give to his son. So basically, I made a peach one for my nephew, and my brother was supporting a small business, and so he paid me for it. And here you can see the size difference between the plushie and the keychain. And so these tentacles are just fine to make on the plushie. They're not fun to make on the keychain. And I also have this smaller yellow one made out of acrylic yarn. So it's bigger than the keychain, but smaller than the chenille plushie. So this is technically like a plushie version, but like kind of medium. And this was also a prototype. So in total, I made 12 octopi. Next up is Luggy Froggies. So I have this black one, blue, yellow, this purple one, and then I have this half and half, yellow and black, and then half and half pink and purple. And so that is a total of 6 Leggy Froggies. Then this next plushie is one of my bigger plushies, and this is a whip that I am including in this video. And it's basically done. I just haven't sewn the pieces together. It is a hippo. Can you tell? So this is the body, this is the head. It will be sewn together at some point. And so this is the side profile. And then I do have the arms and legs made, and I also have the ears. I just haven't sewn it all together. But I'm including this in the video because it's done, technically, sort of. It's like 96% done. I just have to sew it. So yes, hippo. Next on my list is another big plushie. It is this elephant. And then I made another version where the limbs are less floppy. So on this one, the limbs kind of do their own thing. And also, since the legs can go to the front, it can sit up on its own. But then I made this version where like the legs are more part of the body and not just attached at the bottom, but it's like one piece. And so this is like, it can't stand up on its own, but this is like the standing version. And then this is the sitting version. So yeah. And finally, for big plushies is this bunny. So once again, the way I attach the limbs on this one, they are floppy limbs, which means it can sit on its own. but I haven't made a non-floppy limbs version. I don't know if I should, but yeah, this is a bunny that I made. And then a prototype, which is not on my Etsy, is this small bunny. So basically, my bigger plushies are more expensive because, like, for example, this took about 5 hours to make. Like, each ear probably took me like 45 minutes because of how like big and floppy they are. And so this is like quite expensive on my Etsy, but I wanted to make like a mini bunny in case someone wanted a bunny plushie, but they didn't want to pay the cost of this. So I was trying to come up with like a mini palm-sized version, like how I have other palm-sized plushies. So I was trying to come up with a palm-sized bunny pattern, and I don't think I succeeded. I like the ears, and I don't really like anything else. I don't like the little tail, like the little nub of a tail. The bobble stitches for the feet are pretty okay, but I don't like the shape of the head or the shape of the body. So I have to rework it. Like I have the idea and like the vision, like I've pictured it in my head, but trying to actually make it was harder than I thought. So yeah, still need to work on this, but this is a prototype that I made of a small bunny. Then this next one I don't have with me, so I'll put a picture. I made one dinosaur, and that was for my now 3-year-old nephew for Christmas. So at the time he was 2, but now he's 3. And so I made him a dinosaur plushie for Christmas because dinosaurs are his thing, okay? And so I made a video of me crocheting the small stingray and the dinosaur for my 2 nephews, if you guys want to check out that video. But yeah, so I don't have that to show you, but I did make it. And then the last plushie I made is this bee. It does not have a face. I didn't get around to making the face. And this bee isn't currently on my Etsy. I'll add it. By the time this video comes out, I should have taken pictures of this and put it on my Etsy. But yeah, I made this bee probably in June of 2024, and it's currently January of 2025, and I have not put it on my Etsy yet because procrastination. So yes, I also made this bee. So that is a total of 37 plushies. Next, we're gonna move on to granny squares that I made. So I made this sunburst granny square using plush yarn because I just wanted to see what it would look like in a bigger size. So this sunflower granny square is the first one that I made, and then I wanted to size it up, so I used scrap plush yarn that I had, and you can see very big size difference. So basically, if you want to make something that's just a bunch of granny squares connected together and you want to make it faster, just use thicker yarn. Because let's say you want something to be a certain size, you would need to make more of these tiny granny squares. I think these are 4 inches, and then this is 6 inches. So you can make a line a lot faster, like if you were going to sew them all together using bigger granny squares. So I made this plush one. I made these 2 sunflower ones with white borders. This is 4 inches, and I think this is 4.5 inches. And then I made this blue one, 4-inch blue one. And then I made a sunflower granny triangle. And then I made this, it's also a sunburst granny square. And once again, I was just working with like making a different size. So this one is even bigger than the plush one. And then one I was working on is a daisy. And this one I have to rework because I don't know if you can tell, but it's kind of like curling up and it's not laying flat like these ones. So I need to rework the daisy. And by the way, the 4-inch granny squares, I sell them in a set of 6 as coasters on my Etsy shop. And so they're all the sunflower, and then you get to pick the border color. And then finally, I have this spiral. So this isn't a granny square, I guess, but it's like a spiral square. So you know how I showed you my spiral hats earlier? So I essentially learned how to make this spiral square, and then I was like, what if I could turn that into a hat? And so I essentially took this and then made more rows, and then it became a hat. So yeah. So in total, I have 8 granny squares, including this spiral square. I don't think it counts as a granny square, but I'm including it. So 8 of these squares. And finally, the last category, and this was my biggest project of the year. This category is blankets. So I don't know why I'm calling it blankets plural, because I only made one, but I made this sunflower granny square blanket, and it is a total of 70 squares, so it is 7 by 10. And so that's why I was trying to figure out different sizes of granny squares. So all of these granny squares are basically prototypes. And so I was trying to figure out how to make the squares bigger so that I could make less squares total when making the blanket. And so I don't currently have it with me, because that blanket I gave to my sister-in-law, and it was a baby blanket for my now 4-month-old nephew. So my sister-in-law was pregnant at the time, and she told me that her favorite flower was a sunflower. And so I surprised her with several gifts that were sunflower related. So I said that I gave her a sunflower keychain. I also gave her 2 sunflower ruffle hats, as well as the purple plaid ruffle hat. And then I also gave her the sunflower blanket, which was for her new baby. And so, yeah, that project, I worked on it for 10 days. And I put like probably 80 plus hours into that blanket. So yes, that was my biggest project of the year, and it was a gift, and I'm so happy with how that blanket turned out. I think it was 40 by 60 inches, so like a pretty decent sized blanket. So yeah. And so yes, that is everything I crocheted in 2024. So the totals of each category, we're gonna go through it again. So I have the totals written down here. I made 2 ear warmers, 21 bandanas, 35 scrunchies, 50 hats, 16 keychains, 9 pillows, 37 plushies, 8 granny squares, and 1 blanket. And when you add all those numbers together, if my math is correct, that is 179 projects in 7.5 months of 2024. So then if we want to do a little bit more math, 179 divided by 7.5 months is 23.87 projects per month. So let's round that up to 24. So 24 projects per month, and each month has 30 days. So I almost made a project a day in 2024. And you guys cannot see the disaster of stuff that is in front of me. Like trying to get everything I crocheted within arm's reach so that I could pick them up and show it to you guys. Like trying to organize everything into categories was a lot harder than I thought it was gonna be. And so yes, this is, I'm pretty sure, the most I've ever crocheted in a year, because as I said, I've been crocheting since 2010, which is when I was 11 years old. But like I would crochet like 2 hats for the year and then like do other hobbies of mine. But since opening my crochet business, I have been going off, okay? I have been crocheting everything that I can think of. And so now we're at the part of the video where I said at the beginning that I was going to tell you how and when to get a discount on all of these things. Well, my birthday is coming up. My birthday is Friday, January 24th, and I am going to be turning 26. And so on my 26th birthday, I will be running a 26% off sale for everything on my Etsy shop. So not everything I showed you is on my Etsy because some of the things were gifts and like one-off things like the blanket that I made. But 90% of the things you saw in this video are for sale on my Etsy. And if you wait a week, Friday, January 24th, everything is going to be 26% off. So if you saw something that you like, put it in your calendars from 12 a.m. to 11:59 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on January 24th, 2025. There will be a 26% off sale off of everything on my Etsy shop. So yes, this video I've been recording for like an hour and a half. So I don't know how long it's going to be after I edit it, but I made a lot of things and I actually surprised myself, especially with the 50 hats. I didn't realize I made that many. And so I'm currently surrounded, you can't see, but trust me, I'm currently surrounded by all my crochet things. And now I need to organize them and put them away where I had them before I took them all out. And yeah. So thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Put in your calendars 26% off everything Friday, January 24th. And yeah. So that is all for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. It was a lot of work trying to compile everything I made because I had to not only count the things that I physically had with me, but also remember things I sold, things I gifted, and all this stuff. And so it took a while for me to get all the numbers together and to also separate things into different categories. But I feel like all the work was worth it because I feel like this was a good video. So that's all for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, give it a thumbs up. If you think your friends will enjoy it, be sure to share it with them. The link to my Etsy shop will be in the description below in case you want to purchase something from me. 26% off January 24th. Only. It's a one-day sale, so get it when you can. And check out this playlist. It is my small business diaries playlist. So if you enjoyed this video, you'll probably enjoy those, and I'll see you in my next video.